Let's go!
You are now watching 14Asports on 15MOFE.com.
Hey! Welcome back to the 14Asports Radio Show. All right, so on the phone right now is our very special guest. He's a three-time MLB All-Star. He played with the St. Louis Cardinals, San Diego Padres, and the New York Mets. But most importantly, he's the head coach right now of the Newark Bears. Everybody say hello to Garry Templeton. What's going on, Gary?
Hey, how y'all doing tonight?
Doing great, doing great.
Gary, thanks for joining us tonight, Gary.
Hey, thanks for having me.
Absolutely,
All right.
absolutely.
All right, great. So let's start out a little bit. We'll talk a little bit about your playing days. You're a 271 lifetime hitter, 2,096 hits, 70 home runs, and 728 RBIs.
Good numbers.
How about he's one of the only guys to have 100 hits from both sides of the plate.
Oh, yeah.
It's only happened twice in the major leagues.
Very nice. All right, so you were elected to the All-Star team in 77, 79, and 85. Now, in 79,
I love this guy.
You were elected to the team, but, since you weren't starting, you decided not to go. And the famous phrase from this was, if I ain't starting, I ain't departing. So, do you regret that decision at all, or, you still stand firm on that?
Well, the real story behind that is I was a starter game that night, and Jack Buck went to interview me, and so Jack Buck basically asked me, he said, if you're not starting, you're not departing, and I said yes. and the next day, it was headlines across America. Templeton says if he's not starting, he's not departing.
Oh, man.
So, that's basically how it came about. He was interviewing me on the radio.
Buck set you up.
As I was a star of the game. So, I mean, it stuck with me, and, everybody believes I said it. So, I kind of just ran with it after, I got it from, Jack. Because when I used to see Jack all the time, Jack said, oh, that was a hell of a line.
That is a very clever line. That's great.
All right, so, and another thing that we found out in the research, your nickname was Jump Steady. How'd that come about?
It's a great name. That is a great name.
Yeah, that's a nickname that I got from my relatives down in Texas, and I used to go every summer and visit them, and, they used to always say I used to just steadily jump, and so, they started calling me Jump Steady, and so I just kind of kept the name.
Nice.
And, that basically... my relatives in Odessa, Texas, that's what they call me. Every time I go down there, they still call me that.
Oh.
You could have worse nicknames. That was pretty cool. I like it.
Yeah, it just turned out pretty nice.
Yeah, absolutely. So, Gary, again, doing the research, we found a little about you started out with the Cardinals, had a couple, very quality years, switch hitting shortstop. And then you go ahead and get traded for future Hall of Famer Ozzie Smith. And correct me if I'm wrong, but it said that you and Whitey Herzog had a little thing, the manager of the Cardinals, that you gave some kind of gesture or something, and he pulled you out of the game. He didn't like it. So what's the story behind that?
No, basically, it's a story where, Whitey pretty much, he called me in the office and told me one thing, but then he told the press something different.
Really?
So next thing I know, it gets printed in the paper, and then so I go to the game, and the fans are booing me, and they're throwing stuff at me, and so I made a gesture. And so the umpire threw me out the game, and then me and Whitey got into it, and, the rest is history.
Wow. What was the worst thing that they threw at you?
I was coming off the field. I was almost in the dugout, and I was actually surprised they caught what I did because I was only a step away from the dugout.
So what'd you do? What'd you do?
I flipped them off, and then I grabbed my crouch.
Yeah, buddy. Nice. That's awesome.
You're gonna fit it great.
I was almost in the dugout when I did it, and then the next day they had it in the paper, and they said I flipped off the whole Mother's Day 'Cause it was Mother's Day.
On Mother's Day,
Gary! Oh,
jump steady. What were you thinking?
And they said I flipped off the Mother's Day crowd, but nobody seen me except for the people that was right there by the dugout. I mean, it was virtually impossible for anybody else to see me. Because I had teammates that were sitting right there watching me, and a lot of them didn't. A lot of the teammates didn't see me, but the next day they said I flipped off the Mother's Day crowd. But hell, I was almost in the dugout.
So you in the media, you were a little bit at odds there.
From going in the dugout.
Nice.
Hey, it's a bit of a
All right,
fireball
so
mistake.
following all that, you end up getting traded to San Diego. You actually go to World Series in '84 with the Padres. Talk a little bit about that, and what it was like to play in the World
Hell of a
Series.
team he had there.
Well, it was great going to the World Series. I mean, we Jack McKeon and Dick Williams, they put together a great team with Goose and Nettles, and we had some great young players that had came up the year before, and Tony Gwynn and Kevin McReynolds, and we traded and got like Carmelo Martinez, and
So I mean,
we had a great mixture of players, and pretty much all of the pitching staff was guys that came up in the minor leagues with Tony and Matt McReynolds. And, we had Eric Shaw, Dave Gazecki, Andy Hawkins, and then we traded and got the famous Ed Whitten, who got run out of New York. So,
right.
he turned out to be really good for us, and we had Tim Lawler. So I mean, it was a great mix of players, and to go in the World Series, I mean, that's everybody's dream.
Yeah,
to go into the World Series, and wish we could have won it.
Yeah,
I
unfortunately,
thought we had a better team.
Unfortunately, you didn't win, but right after you were traded from the Cardinals in '81, they come back in '82 and they win the World Series. How was that looking at your former team? Win the World Series. Was that a little bittersweet for you?
Yeah, well, I mean, I was happy because I came up in the organization with all those guys, so you're happy for the guys to go out and accomplish that goal.
Right.
Because I played with those guys for almost 6 years, and some of them I played with in the minor leagues. So, it was a lot longer, and you're just happy and thrilled to see that they were able to go out there and accomplish that goal. And and that's what, like I said, that's everybody's goal, to be able to go there and be able to win a championship, and they done it. And I thought we had it in '84, but it was not to be. So. But I was happy and excited for him. I watched the whole series.
Right. Well, I'm a big Met fan, Gary, and so on SNY, our boy Keith Hernandez, he does all the games. Obviously won the World Series in the Mets at '86, but you were on those Cardinal teams with him. He won the MVP in '79. Can you give me what was Keith like as a teammate? Was he the same kind of guy that we see on the TV now? How was he as a teammate? I'm very intrigued by Keith Anderson. He's one of my favorite players.
Well, Keith was great. I mean, as far as I was concerned, Keith was a great teammate. When I came up, he was already in the big leagues. He helped me out a lot.
Right.
Always talked to me. Always was a friend. Keith was a friend to everybody. I mean, he was always a good laugher and a good joker. I mean, I think he's the ultimate teammate, a guy that you would want to play with every day, and because he has your back all the time as a teammate. And Keith was a really confident and cocky guy. I mean, he would, he would go and say, "I'm gonna get this pitcher. I'm gonna get him. He got me. I'm gonna get him." And Keith would do it. I mean, and Keith played hard. He played the game real hard, and and that's what you want out of your teammates, just for them to go out there and play hard. And Keith did that day in and day out.
He saved you a couple errors at first base, couple errant throws, or what? He helped you out in that regard?
He cost me a few too, because he played first base like a shortstop. I mean, he picked everything, and he was always sometime on the run over there at first base trying to get there, because Keith was such a great fielder that he covered ground, and so he was on the run a lot of times, and I cut it loose, and it'd be over the bag, and they'd give me an error, and I'd be like, "Keith, get to the bag! Hey, get to the bag, Keith! Come on!"
That's great.
So, Gary, did you know towards the end of your career that you wanted to be a coach, or was it something you always wanted to do? How'd you transition into it? Was it easy to do for you, or?
Well, I always knew that I had the ability to teach, because even at an early age, when I first came up to the big leagues, everybody wanted to know how I was so successful hitting the way I used to hit the ball. And so I used to work with a lot of the guys that were already in the big leagues on the hitting. And, you know, just telling them things that I did and what I thought that they should do. So Dick Williams, one day I was sitting on the bench. He said, "Hey, come sit next to me." And he says, "I want to show you what I do as far as running a game." And I sat there, and then I kind of got the full understanding of what a manager does when he runs a game. And so my managing style is similar to Dick Williams, because I sat there, and once he showed me a whole game, what he does, how he does it, and I was like, whoa, you know, I never understood that he was doing all of this stuff. And so, you know, he was far ahead of the game. He was always thinking 2 or 3 innings ahead, and, you know, and stuff like that. And I was like, okay. And so once I retired, the Padres actually asked me to come and help their infielders to teach them. And so then I got a managing job with the Angels for 4 years. So, you know, I just, once I started, I kind of enjoyed it because I like helping people and helping these young men, you know, try to achieve their goals.
Yeah, definitely. Now, you know, with managing too, you managed in places like Edmonton, Salt Lake, Fullerton, and even last year you were in Hawaii. I mean, you know, I guess, you know, what was your favorite place to manage in? And, you know, like, you know, in Edmonton? I mean, who the hell knows they have baseball out there? I mean, talk about all those places a little bit.
Well, I mean, they were all nice. I mean, you know, the cities was nice, people, everything. You know, I got Hawaii. I got island fever. I mean, you know, because you know, there's no place to go. Erie, Pennsylvania, it was just so cold. I mean, I don't even know if we had about a month worth of summer there, and and it was cold. Actually, it was colder than Edmonton.
Really?
Wow.
Yeah, it was. Yeah, it was. God, it was cold in Erie, but Orange County was nice because I was close to home for a change. Mm-hmm. You know, I didn't have to go all the way across the country. You know, and my family was able to come and, you know.
Awesome. And now welcome to Newark.
Now you're beautiful Newark.
Yeah, you know, I always wanted to come back east and manage in the Atlantic League or the Can-Am, or, you know, come over here and manage because it's a different, you know, I know that fans enjoy baseball. They know baseball here. And so, you know, because California is a little different. You're laid back.
Right?
You know, it's so much to do there. And, you know, the fans here are real knowledgeable. So I want to come here and get a chance, try to get a winning team back out on the field for Newark. So, you know, we got a pretty decent team this year. And, you know, I've just come here and hope I can get these young men to play hard and win games.
Yeah, so, you know, you actually won a championship. You know, I was looking at some of the, you know, some of the statistics from your managing day. You know, at first it didn't start out so well, but the last couple of years, you've had a lot of winning ball clubs. Now, you know, with Chico, that's where you won the championship. You know, what did you learn from that experience, and, you know, what do you think you'll be able to bring to Newark?
Well, you know, independent ball is so hard because everybody is trying to get that best player to get released out of affiliated ball. Mm. So what you try to do is you try to find the best possible player you can, and, you know, you have to avoid injuries. And what I learned was that, you know, you got to get a nucleus of good players, keep them together, and, you know, hopefully you have some young players that can help you produce, and then you go from there and teach. I still teach winning, even though it's independent ball. I still teach them how to do things the right way. And, you know, even though I do have some guys that, you know, played in the big leagues and stuff, I still try to help them. And I'm just trying to bring, you know, get that winning tradition back here in Newark, because I know about, you know, 6, 7 years ago, you know, they was winning championships. So they had some really good ball clubs here.
Yeah. Right, Gary. How would you know? You look at major league managers. You know, just take for example in New York, Joe Torre is obviously a lot different than Joe Girardi. How would you describe your managing style? And what's the most important thing to you as a manager? What's your goal? And what is your style? Do you feel like?
Well, my style, I feel like it's pretty much I'm not a guy that likes to sit back and wait on the 3-run homers.
Okay.
I like to put pressure on the defense.
Put guys in motion. But
I like to put guys in motion. You know, I like to have guys hit and run, steal bases.
Right.
And, you know, if I have a big bopper up there, I know a guy that can drive the ball out the ballpark. I might tell late in the game, I'll tell the guys, hey, we're gonna see if he can hit a double and drive in two, to put us up. So,
right.
And it all depends on the type of players that you find in independent ball to come and play for you too. That makes a big difference, as to what kind of players you have. And so once you see what you have, then you can work with that style too. So,
right.
and I think it's all about knowing your personnel and what they can do and what they can't do. So I try to pride myself on knowing what everybody can do. So my style is this, and I go out there and I try to win a game.
There you go.
Nice. All right, so let's talk about the Newark Bears. That's why we're here tonight. Give us a little bit of a timeline of events on how you actually got the Bears job.
Well, actually I was sitting at home. I thought I was going to kind of retire and
wow, right.
And just sit at home. And
well, thank God you didn't. You wouldn't be on the radio with us tonight. Thank God.
Yeah. I thought I was going to play some golf, and so a friend of mine, he said, hey, the Bears have an opening. And I was like, yeah. I said, man, I said, yeah, but, they usually hire people that are close to, Jersey or something like that. He said, well, if you don't want to send your resume, let me send it. I said, all right, go ahead on. So he sent the resume, and then 2 days later, I get a phone call, and they wanted me to do an interview. And so I did an interview about 5 days later, and then they called me back, and I think it was about a week, and asked me if I wanted the job.
Wow.
And so I ended up taking the job, and then I didn't actually get hired until January. So, and I talked to him in December.
Yeah, it's a long process.
You like the area over here?
Yeah, I don't mind Newark. I mean, I'm still getting used to the city. I mean, because it seems like the roads to me go crazy.
You picked Newark, yeah, not so.
The road amongst other things in the road.
I know, because I wouldn't pick my wife up at the airport. She said, "Oh Lord, I couldn't drive this. This thing goes in a big old circle, and I know I get lost trying to drive around the airport." So,
airport's one of the safer places in Newark.
Yeah. So I told her, I said, it's a lot of one-way streets, but I like the people's been great. I mean, city is great. I mean, it's a little chilly here. California, I'm used to a little warmer weather.
We're starting to warm up, guy. We're starting to warm up a little bit.
Yeah, well, I hope so, because it was cold the other day. We played an exhibition game. It was kind of cold. I was like, oh, man, it's near May, and it's still cold.
I hear. So what's this Newark Bears team look like this year? You guys gonna have a successful year, you think, or what?
Yeah, I think we'll have a successful year. It all depends. You know how it is in baseball. It all comes down to your pitching.
You got to pitch,
if
right?
Your pitch, if your pitching staff can go out there and get some outs, and your runners drive in some runs, you got a chance to win. And I'm hopefully I got some. It looks like I got quite a few pitchers that know what they're doing when they get out there on the mound, and that's one important thing. And independent ball, you have to have guys that throw strikes because walks will kill you. Walks will kill you in
any level. Any level, yeah, for sure.
Yeah, so you would just hope that the pitching staff, can hold together, because I got some hitters. It's no doubt that we're going to hit, and defense, we're going to play good defense. So it just depends on my pitchers, and you hope that if there's one of your pitchers is not doing well, that there's somebody available out there that can come and help you, and that's the most important thing, is that you find somebody that can help you.
All right, Garry, tell us a little bit about J.J. Sherrill, player manager on your team. He was drafted up by the Indians in '98. What exactly is the role of player manager?
No, he's a player coach.
Player coach.
Ah, yeah.
Gary's the manager.
That's
Come on, man.
That's a typo.
Come on, man.
That's my fault. I wrote that in the notes. My
The
bad.
editor in charge here.
Well, basically, what JJ does is he's a player, but he also helps out with the hitters. He's like the hitting guy.
Uh-huh.
So, he gets with the hitters and, he helps them out, on the hitting. And, it's just like he's like a regular hitting coach, but he's also a player. And if you look at JJ's stats over the years, this guy can flat out hit.
Mm-hmm.
And he just had when he was with Cleveland, I think the only thing that killed him was that he got injured, a few years in a row. And, once you get injured, they tend not to mess with you too much after that. So he has a great track record of hitting the ball.
Mm-hmm. Gary, looking at the game now, or in the past couple of years, our audience, maybe a little bit younger, maybe not remember you exactly. Is there anyone in professional baseball right now that you would find comparable to yourself?
No, I don't think so. Because
you're one of a kind, right? You're one of a kind.
Right. It's funny because me and Alvin Smith were talking about it. Last year when we were together, and we were talking about how the shortstops of today play so much differently than we did.
In what sense?
Because I think that, we were able to cover more ground.
Okay.
I think, our reach was a lot different. I mean, guys played the position a lot differently than we did. And then plus the fact, I think that a lot of shortstops now are bigger than what we were. When I was coming up, I think Mark Belanger was the only shortstop that was over 6 feet. Everybody else was 5'11", maybe right at 6 feet.
Right. Ripken kind of changed that a little bit, right? Ripken at bigger shortstop, kind of ushered that in a little bit.
Right. And then Cal Ripken, he came in as a big shortstop, and now everybody has some shortstops that have size, so it's a little different. Yeah, I think the styles are a little different now, and the teaching is a little different too as to how they read and where they position themselves, on the diamond. Because we played a lot to where we took away everything up the middle, and you only played those big pull hitters to pull in the hole, and it looks like to me that there's a lot of shortstops that play more to pull,
right?
Because I see ground balls on TV go up the middle of the diamond and they ain't close.
You're like, I would have had
that.
Right.
I know it. I'm like, man, that dude would have been out if I was playing.
If Hernandez is on the bag, anyway.
All right. So, the Newark Bears opening day is this Friday night. Without getting, too over the top, whatever, what's a realistic expectation that we have for this season? A championship, a 500 team? What do we think here?
Championship?
Well, I'm thinking championship because,
always think that way.
The players that I have, all of these guys have been, on winning teams, and they know what it takes to win. Because once you get a taste of winning, you want to win again. So, like I said, I think a lot of, I got like a few pitchers that had a taste of the winning, but a lot of the position players have been on winners. So, that's a big plus because, when you have guys that's out there on the field every day that's had a taste of success and winning championships and, or being in playoffs and winning, those guys want to go back because that's all the players are talking about is we want to win a championship. And I keep preaching it. Hey, I didn't come all the way to Newark, to be a 500 team.
If you're in Newark, you better win.
Yeah.
I want to win. I want to win. I'm gonna do my best to put the best team I can out there to to win the games. I don't want to be a 500 team.
There you go.
All right. So last question before we get out of here for the night. Do you have any aspirations to manage in the majors at any point, or you like being here teaching the younger kids this stuff?
Well, I thought that I might have had a shot at doing it some years ago when I managed with the Angels because I won in A-ball, lost in the playoffs, lost a one-game playoff. Double-A, I lost in semifinals. And then in Triple-A, I won. And then I went to the Arizona Winter League, and I won. And I thought that was the ingredients for at least getting a coaching job or something, but I never did get an offer from nobody. So, you know, I ended up, doing independent ball because I thought I had a chance of, helping out some organization.
Right.
But, I'm not mad. It's just that, when you feel like you can help somebody, and then nothing ever comes about, you kind of wonder. So.
Well, over the last couple seasons, you've had some, great success. So, hopefully that continues here in Newark. Best of luck with the job. And, we got to have you in studio here now since you're so close to Bayonne now.
You mentioned golf, Gary. Maybe we get you out as part of the foursome here, the
Yeah.
14A foursome.
Oh, yeah.
We're big golfers now.
Yeah, I passed up playing in Marshall Falk's celebrity tournament.
Oh, me
I turned
too.
that one down.
Yeah, I passed that up too.
I'm going.
Yeah, so,
All right, Gary, thanks for being with us. I just want to say, when you got traded to the Mets and retired, that was a great move. Speaking as a Met fan, that was a job well done because what an organization they are. But thank you very much for being on with us. We appreciate it a lot.
Thanks for sharing your stories, Gary.
Well, thank you guys for having me. I appreciate it. Thank you.
All right, thanks a lot.
Good luck this season.
All right.
All right.
All right, thank you. Bye.
All right, yeah, so Newark Bears opening day is this Friday night. For tickets, go to newarkbears.com, or if you want to call them at 973-848-1000, you can get them that way. Newark Bears got a lot of good stuff going on opening day. First 200 fans in the building are going to get themselves a free Newark Bears cap.
Oh, well, that's very exciting.
Very
Whoa,
exciting.
I can't wait to get my hands on one
Did you
of
get
those.
us tickets?
No, I didn't.
Why couldn't you get us hooked up with some tickets?
I will. I will.
What is actually your job with the Newark Bears?
It's just an internship. I'm starting
All right,
tomorrow.
So what are you doing not getting paid for the Newark Bears?
We don't
Keeping
know.
the ice cold.
It's a big mystery. But the most important thing of this, dollar drafts at the game on Friday for the Newark Bears.
That'd be something we're interested in.
If you're an avid baseball fan and drinker, that's definitely something that you
There
want
you
to
go.
get going on. All right.
That's unheard of at a ball game.
So
Can't let this crowd around.
everybody make sure you make it out to Newark Friday night for that game. I believe it's a 7:35 start there. Right now we're going to get to two videos. One from Audio Insights. One's called Bathe in the Earth. The one after that's from Aston called A Million Miles. And our special guest of honor, Corey Stokes, just walked in the building minutes ago. So
sir.
as soon as that breaks over, we're going to have him right at the table sitting
Finally
with
got
us.
some talent in here.
All right, 14A Sports on 15 Minutes of Fame Radio. We'll be back with Corey Stokes.
Let's go!